Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network live, woodwardsports.com from, of course, Big Boy out in Wyandotte. My goodness, this is the spot. Do you see this big old boy? How do I describe this?
Big
this
old
is so cool.
boy?
Oh my God!
No, honestly,
this isn't. I love it. I love this place.
This place, it's
huge.
It's an amazing setup. I mean, I just drove downtown Wyandotte. Never been out here. It's a nice little city, man. It is.
I
enjoy my time
Look at you
driving
getting
through
outside of your own comfort zone. I'm proud of you.
Yeah,
I'm proud of you.
Yeah, Fish already gave me crap for it earlier.
It's all
okay.
good. Look, we got a
right.
great show lined up. I'm so very excited. We'll start the show with the last 5 weeks. I want to revisit this a little bit with Jeff, and then we'll move into the conversation of where Amon-Ra St. Brown stands currently in the NFL. Is he top 10, top 15?
Yeah.
We'll go through the Lions wildcard hunt scenarios, which is very, very interesting. We'll do a season review for Michigan. Of course, we got to talk about the Pistons last night, beating the Miami Heat on the road. Big win. Killian Hayes
Huge.
Continuing to put out very good performances. 6 points, 6 assists, no turnovers. Good night for him. Can the Wings make a playoff push? I want to talk about further development for the Pistons as well. Jeff, I know this is important to you. How are you building this team? You see the prototypes around the league. How do you replicate it, or do you cavalier or pioneer your own way? I'm very curious to have this conversation later on, but I did want to start first with a good friend of mine, Chris Castellani. He's struggling at the moment, and he shared his battle publicly with alcohol and bulimia addiction. So I just want to say to whoever you are out there, if you're struggling with anything, go find help. Go talk to somebody. It's okay.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of Chris for him to put himself out there, for him to share his personal, I don't want to say trauma, but his personal battles, his demons, out for the public. I'm thinking about him a lot, so I'm wishing him nothing but the best, man.
Yeah, same here. It takes a lot to be vulnerable, especially for men. I mean, you grow up, and that's kind of the narrative is to tough it out, and for Chris to publicly admit. And with the platform he has, the amount of eyeballs that are on Chris, for him to do that, it just shows how strong he is, man. And obviously a good friend of the show, so he's got our full support.
100%.
And he's one of the most talented people I've ever met.
He's so talented. He's such a great guy.
Yes, he is.
There's nothing you can say bad about Chris. He is an exceptional guy.
No.
He's the best at what he does. I love him to death. I'm wishing him nothing but the best. I can't wait to see how it goes in the future from here on. But let's get the show started. The last 5 weeks have been a complete... How do I even say this? It's been amazing, number one. I mean, let's be honest here. It's been amazing to talk about. Number two, you've seen, in my opinion, a team over the last 5 weeks. Go show me somebody who's played. Go show me another team that have played the same amount of football or the same complete game of football that the Lions have played the last 5 weeks. And the teams you'll find are contenders right now in the NFL. That's the key thing here. So They've turned it around. Campbell has turned it around. And not, he still needs to prove. That's a whole different conversation. When he was at 1-6, they were at their lowest ebb, traded T.J. Hawkinson, got rid of Aubrey Pleasant. Was this going to work? Continued coaching mistakes, players not making plays, no player development. You flip the switch, you sneak by Green Bay. And then it's you beat Chicago. And then it's you beat New York. Or I think it was New York and then Chicago, vice versa. I forget the order.
Chicago, then New York.
Was it? Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And then lose a tough game to Buffalo, but you follow it up with an ass-whooping of Jacksonville, Jeff. And for me, again, what do I ask for before the season? Win games. They've won 4 or 5. They're on pace to win the 7 I expected them to win. And they may even get 8, Jeff. These last 5 weeks have done wonders, in my opinion, for everybody in that building, the outside perception of what's going on. The football they've played in the last 5 weeks is what I expect moving forward. Now, that doesn't mean it's 4-1 every 5-game stretch. No. It's not how the NFL works. But I want to see clean football. Special teams. I want to see them punt. I want to see them take points like they have. The offense top 8 in the league. The defense has been exceptional the last 5 weeks. Give me more of this, and then you're going to start getting a lot of buy-in, Jeff.
Yeah, and the benefit of it as well is the schedule's getting a lot easier. And that's something that, starting off, looking at the first game they had, the first win they had in quite some time was against the Packers. And you think initially I picked the Packers to win, guilty of that. They proved me wrong. Kirby Joseph proved me wrong. And they go on they win 3 games in a row. They lose a close one to Buffalo, which they had a chance to win that game. They didn't. They still competed with Buffalo. You followed up with an absolute dominating win against the Jaguars. And I talked about this early on. I believe it was after the Chicago game when they won 2 straight. It's different when you're game planning during the week for your next opponent when the way you prepare has shown you can win that way. Before, when you're losing 5 in a row, 6 in a row, it's hard to go to practice. It's hard to do those same things knowing that the results haven't been there. Now you win 2 in a row. You have the players, the coaches, you have this different mentality approaching practice, and what happens? You win 3 in a row. You lose 1 to Buffalo. They prepared great. They played well. I'm not going to take too much away from them, but you follow it up, right? You're riding this wave of, we won 3 in a row. We played a Super Bowl contender till the end. It took 23 seconds for Josh Allen to win that ball game. They go in, they take out their anger on Jacksonville. And again, for a young team like the Lions have, yes, they're getting healthier. The defense is playing better. Firing Aubrey Pleasant, shown to be effective. But also these players are in a different mindset winning these games. But as of before, you're 1-6. You're kind of in the bottom, the pit of the NFL. Now you've arisen. Now you're in the playoff picture. Guys are playing meaningful games in December, and I think it means well, especially for a young team.
I think a lot of you in the Woodward Sports chat are making a lot of good points this morning, and I think to build off of Jeff, you guys are almost in lockstep at the moment. And I don't think it's one thing. I think we agree on that.
Yeah.
It wasn't just one thing. It wasn't just the schedule. It wasn't just players got healthy. It wasn't just coaching got better, which it did. It is the collective, and that's the NFL. So, yes, I expect you week in and week out. I don't need, again, I got really upset after the Seattle game, if you recall. I think you remember I was screaming, pounding the table. I don't want the 2000 Baltimore Ravens.
No.
I don't want the 85
one
Bears.
punt.
Just one punt.
Yeah.
With this offense, it's legitimately that way.
Yeah.
But now you're seeing them play much better defense. Aaron Glenn is now looking like the defensive coordinator you were bought into in the offseason, just like I was.
Yeah.
This was a guy that was going to get head coaching looks because of how, I don't want to say how good they were last year, but they showed moments. They kept this team in games they had no business being in.
Right.
So now you're seeing the coaching deliver. And I if we can agree on this, I'm not sure how you feel, but this is a big thing for me to say. I don't think Dan Campbell is a turd. And I know I said that 6 weeks ago,
Yeah.
but hear me out. This is what I mean by it.
Yeah.
He still has turd tendencies, but he can coach. He's not Freddie Kitchens. He's not Hugh Jackson. He's not the guy that's going to fall completely out of the barrel. The only way he does it is with his decision-making. If he can, I don't want to say get out of the way because that's not, his involvement is important. But if he can avoid the 4th and 9 calls, the 4th and 7s, the refusing to take 3 points on a 12-play drive to start the game on the road, if you can just stop making those mistakes and improve your game management, I actually think he can be a pretty decent coach.
Absolutely. And
the players are dying for him.
Right. And he has, quieted down on those 4th and longs lately. And it seems like the reason for that is, one, well, your defense is playing much better, so it's not like he has to go for it every single time. But another part of it is you finally have a kicker. And I think that's the difference. And I get, even early in the year, you get Michael Badgley. You didn't necessarily trust him at first, but now you're seeing Badgley be effective. So, again, for Dan Campbell's credit, he's learning, which, again, I say this, it's not ideal that your head coach is learning on the job, but this is what you signed up for. This is what Sheila signed up for. And for Dan, his first head coaching job, yes, he was an interim head coach, but his first real job, he's improved, and I got to give him credit for that. From game one of last year to now, the decision-making, you're seeing it over the last 5 games. He's cleaned that up. Players are always, and this has been the narrative for 2 years now, almost. Players have not quit on him. So clearly he has the voice of the locker room. The decisions are getting better. Game planning is getting better. And it's not just from a head coaching perspective. His coordinators are playing better, scheming things up better. Ben Johnson's been consistent for the most part. But like you said, AG has been better. So a lot of credit to Dan Campbell over the last couple of weeks. He's really turned it around for him personally.
Let me ask you this before I share this with you. We've talked about the last 5 weeks and how important they are. How important are the next 5? And don't talk to me about playoffs right now. I want you to talk to me about the team.
Right.
How important are the next 5 weeks? What do you want to see?
Well, I want to see wins. That's number one. But it's important because, like I said before, preparing to win games, right? You're seeing results. If they can continue to see these results under Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, the same core of players are going to be here next year. So we talk about building culture, and culture is important, but how do you build culture? You win games. And if they could finish out this season winning these games, I think they have 2 out of the 5 games left are on the road, if I'm not mistaken. I have to double check that. Yes, 2 out of the 5, or out of the 6, excuse me, or on the road. So if you can get those, you can check those boxes. It builds more confidence in the program and what Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes are building. So winning games are important. That's number one. And really, a lot of players have to step up. I mean, I want to see Jared Goff close the season. How does he look? I want to see Amon-Ra close the season strong. There's a lot of players I'm looking for. Aiden, Kirby. So not just from wins, but from player development. That's also just as important, to me at least. And the wins will keep coming because that's the number one thing is yes, you could win 4 out of the last 5. What happens down the stretch? What happens, through the last 5 games? Can you win 3 out of 5? Can you win 4 out of 5? Or dare I say 5 out of 5? That's the biggest thing for me because, 4 out of 5 sounds great, but if you win 1 out of 4 or 1 out of 5, down the stretch, that's when you really have to start dissecting these games and start pointing the finger because, yes, you can give Dan Campbell credit now, but 4 or 5 weeks from now, seeing where the results go, you're going to have to find a reason. You're going to have to give me a reason, Dan. And he has so far.
I'm going to leave you with this.
He has so far.
I'm going to leave you with this. I apologize. It took me a little bit longer than I wanted. I'm going to leave you all with this. Stick, I think you're going to love to hear this. In their last 5 weeks, where they're 4-1, the Detroit Lions have gone for on 4th down 6 times. If you add up all the games they've lost this year, the 6 losses outside of Buffalo, they've gone for it 18 times. They've gone for it 3 times the amount in that 6-game stretch than they have in the last 5 weeks where they've played some of their best football. Put that into perspective. We'll take a break. When we get back, where does Amon-Ra St. Brown belong in the NFL? Is he top 5, top 10, top 15? We'll have the discussion. We'll also throw up a poll coming up in just a bit. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at the Sports Marketing Agency.
The Sports Marketing Agency helps spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. Their new podcast, This is the S Word, helps fight the stigma about seeking help. If you or someone you know is struggling, tell them or yourself to head to thesportsma.com.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1, what's your why? More epic energy, better sleep, blow off steam? Step 2, join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3, bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991? Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
Jeff Iafrate here. Let me tell you about our friends at the Fulling Warehouse in Hamtramck, because it is the home of the original football bowling game, 2 to play for $12, the unlimited open play. Or you can get the $120 lane reservation for up to 10 people. You bring your friends, test it out. Who's the better thrower? Who's better than Jared Goff? Test it out at Fulling Warehouse. They have a $2 mystery beer machine, full bar. You can even get a little tipsy while you're playing. Check it out, fullingwarehouse.com.
Okay, Jeff.
Speaking of tipsy.
Oh, God.
I don't mind being tipsy.
I know, Jeff. I know. Young alcoholic. Look, we're back here on the Morning Woodward Show live, woodwardsports.com. And this is a fun one. Alex, if you don't mind, get this ready up in the Woodward Sports chat. Let's throw up a poll. Where does Amon-Ra St. Brown stand currently in the NFL? Is he a top 5? Here are your options. Top 5, top 10, or top 15. Jeff, I'll start with you. We talked about St. Brown, if you remember, back in August during Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
And the common theme after every episode on a Wednesday morning was he's unguardable.
Yeah.
Every time I see him, he's open. Red zone. Third down. Doesn't matter. The Colts couldn't guard him. In the preseason, you couldn't guard him. In practice, you couldn't guard him. To start the season, you couldn't guard him.
You couldn't guard him.
To end the season last year, you couldn't guard him.
In the parking lot, you couldn't guard him.
You can't. Nobody can stop this guy. He is exceptional.
Yeah.
So my question is, where is he? We had the conversation back in May. He was left off the Pro Football Network's top 32 wide receivers list. Mm-hmm. We argued that he was already a top 20 wide receiver at the time.
Yep.
This was prior to the year starting. You look today. Where is he?
Well, it's interesting because you take into account the fact that he missed a game and he played a game and left early. I think he got
left in the first quarter.
Yeah, so
after
basically
two
two
plays.
games missing from this season compared to other wide receivers. And I'll tell you where he ranks in these stats, and you tell me if he's not a top 10 wide receiver. Right now, with those 2 games missing, he's tied for 9th in touchdowns. He's tied for 7th in receptions. 2 important things for receivers, by the way. 13th in receiving yards. And if he played 2 games and let's say 150 more yards, he would be top 10 in those stats as well. He's 13th in yards per game. And again, when you look at a wide receiver, and how I look at top 10 is consistency and reliability. Amon-Ra St. Brown is doing exactly what a number 1 wide receiver does. And we had this question, remember when he was first drafted, or really his rookie season. Is he a number 1? Is he a number 1 or is he a number 2? Because the comparison coming out was Hines Ward. That was really the general consensus for Amon-Ra St. Brown. And what I've been seeing this season with Amon-Ra is week in and week out, when he plays, he's the number 1 vocal point defensively every week, and he still gets open. He still makes plays. That's the job of a number 1 wide receiver, and Amon-Ra's been doing that. So no question he's a number 1. Is he a top 10 wide receiver? The stats say so. The eye test says so. And if you watch the game against the Jags, that was an exclamation point on that statement. So, yes, I would believe he's either top 10. If you want to say he's top 11, top 12, he ain't top 15. He's better than that. How he's been playing this season. Imagine if he played those 2 games. Who knows? If he had a game like the Jags, he'd be even higher. So, yes, Adam, to answer your question, he's a top 10 wide receiver this year.
I don't like using words or player comps lightly. But what I'm going to say now is he has qualities of the following players. You tell me if I'm wrong. He has the qualities of a Hines Ward, a Cooper Kupp.
He can block.
And a little edge of Golden Tate.
Yes.
He can block effectively like a Hines Ward and a Cooper Kupp could. He is an exceptional route runner like Cooper Kupp. Always finds separation. And the speed, the yak, is very reminiscent, of course, of Golden Tate. So this is a guy right now, he's playing at a top 10 level. You may not want him in your top 10, depending on who you are, what media publication, whatever. It's irrelevant to me. He's playing at a top 10 level right now. He is the de facto number 1 option on this team. You have to stop him every week. And you know what teams are doing, Jeff? Nothing.
Yeah.
They can't stop him.
No.
Jacksonville, who do you circle on this Detroit Lions offense?
No question.
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah.
Can't stop him. Unguardable. He's top 10 right now. 68% of the people agree in the chat.
And another point I want to add, too, is Amon-Ra St. Brown doesn't fit your typical mold, right? He's not a burner. He's not 6'4", 6'5". He's not this big play down the field guy. But you know what he is? He's consistent, and he's reliable. And you're looking at some of these other household names in the NFL. People will bring up, Amon-Ra St. Brown may not be a household name, but he produces like a household name, or at least he should. And he's getting more eyes, he's getting more attention on him. But I think that's what draws people back at him. Is you look at Amon-Ra, and yes, people locally know about him, but nationally, you're like, who's this Amon-Ra St. Brown guy? Getting 100 plus yards, 11 catches against the Jags. Locally, I think no one would question if he's top 10, but if you go nationally, the name brand or having a household name confuses people. But I don't care. I care about production. I care about consistency, and Amon-Ra St. Brown does all that. So, and again, the blocking, what he does in the run game doesn't get measured. I think receivers should be measured on that. How well do you block? And if we're taking Amon-Ra St. Brown into consideration, he's one of the best. He really is in the NFL in terms of run blocking. He's nasty.
Route running.
Yeah, route running as well. Yeah,
I mean, come on. This is...
They put him on one...
I know he's wearing a Detroit Lions uniform, and I know I'm talking to mostly Detroit Lions fans at the moment. I know you are too, but look, we need to appreciate players, regardless of who they play for their output. And back in May, we talked about, why are players like Michael Gallup, Christian Kirk, Darnell Mooney, why are these guys ahead of Amon-Ra St. Brown, who had more catches, more yards, more touchdowns than all of them?
Right.
This guy had 90 catches last year, and he played half the season realistically.
Yeah.
He produced than half the season.
Yeah, he produced for half the season. Yeah,
and he was on pace. If he played the full season, how we did down the 6-7 game stretch, he would have had 1,400 yards receiving. I mean, what is there a conversation here? Like, this guy is exceptional. All he does is produce. He's very how do I want to describe him? He's very quick, and there's not one way to describe this guy. He's exceptional. But regardless of the point, he's on pace for 1,300 yards this year.
Yeah.
He's on pace for 1,300. He's going to get 100 catches, 1,300 to 1,400 yards probably, and almost 10 touchdowns. Close your eyes.
Yeah, that's a top 10.
100 plus receptions, 1,300 plus yards, 10 plus touchdowns.
Yep.
You are hitting the free agency market, and everybody is after you. But then I tell you it's Amon-Ra St. Brown.
It's unreal. And I love this, by the way, this comment, WoodwardSports.com. Ethan Brown says, he is why TJ was expendable. And I think that's a great point. Because you have a guy like Amon-Ra, and for him to be the focal point every single week and to be in a situation like he was against Jacksonville, I believe it was the first touchdown. He was a one-on-one situation. Basically, Ben Johnson schemed it up for Amon-Ra to be like, you know what, you're on a one-on-one, go beat him. And he did that. That's what number one wide receivers do, and he's been doing that all year. So, again, I believe he's top 10, even with the really 2 games he's missed. He missed 1 game. The other game he went out early. If he played both those games, stats would be even better. So I don't think it's a homer take or being biased. I think it's just really the eye test. I have the benefit of watching him every single week, so I know better than most outside of Detroit. But that's the reality, man. What he does, he's such a complete wide receiver. And think about it when Jameson Williams gets into the flesh. He starts getting into the mold, and he starts producing at the rate we think Jameson can produce at. Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Let me ask you this.
Good luck.
Let's go through the list.
Good luck.
Yes or no questions. Is he better than Tyreek Hill?
No.
Okay. Better than Justin Jefferson?
No.
Okay. Stephon Diggs?
No.
Devontae Adams?
No.
Jalen Waddle?
No. That's a toss-up to me because he's having a better year.
A.J. Brown?
No.
Okay. Terry McLaurin?
Now we're getting into some splits here.
Because now it's Terry McLaurin, Chris Olave, Tyler Lockett, Amari Cooper, Christian Kirk, DK Metcalf, Garrett Wilson, Mike Evans, Michael Pittman. Amon-Ra St. Brown is higher than all of them in either yards or receptions. And the only one I would make the case for is CeeDee Lamb is probably better than him right now. But the problem is Terry McLaurin has the numbers to back him up, right? 62 catches, 945 yards.
Right. The only receiver you just named that I would think would be Terry McLaurin and CeeDee Lamb. After that, I think Amon-Ra's better than the field.
So I've given you 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've given you 8 wide receivers. You want to throw Higgins or Lockett right now, currently over Amon-Ra?
No, I would take Amon-Ra over those.
I would take him over Metcalf, Wilson, his fellow rookie, Devontae Smith.
Yep.
Now, you want to throw Jamar Chase in that conversation? That's fine. I think he's earned that right. Cooper Kupp, he's injured, so it depends if you want to use the players that are injured at the moment or have just come back from an injury. DeAndre Hopkins, too. So I don't think a Jalen Waddle, for example, who is top 5 in receiving yards, is necessarily a top 5 receiver. Amon-Ra, slightly out of the top 10 in receiving yards, but he is the de facto one.
Right.
So when I look at the Lions, when I look at the Dolphins, it's Hill. The Bills, it's Diggs. The Raiders, it's Adams. The Eagles, it's Brown. When it's the Lions, you're talking about Amon-Ra St. Brown.
That's the dude.
I think he's the dude. If we're gonna actually go through the whole list, if we're honest with each other, I think right now he's playing at a top 10 level, but he probably gets voted out at 11 or 12.
Yeah.
Realistically.
And again, this is the point I was making earlier with the household names, because people bring up, what about DeAndre Hopkins, or what about a Mike Evans? No, we're talking about this year. This year, Amon-Ra St. Brown in totality have been better than those guys. So, again, DeAndre Hopkins gets like 15 targets a game in Arizona, but he's an incredible wide receiver and a better household name. But we're talking about producing week in and week out. I think Amon-Ra is definitely
he's among some of the better wide receivers in the NFL, and
No
that's
question.
a great conversation to be in. So let's
question.
take a quick pause. When we get back, the Lions are suddenly in the wild card hunt. Do they actually have a shot? They're in 8th place right now. 7th place, of course, is the Washington Commanders at 7-5-1. They're on a bye week this week. With a win on Sunday against the Minnesota Vikings, you will be 1 win behind. 1 win. Not 1 game, but 1 win behind the same amount as the Washington Commanders.
Adam, if they make the playoffs, I got a bet I'm going to make, and we'll get to it when we come back.
Oh, dear God. Well, let's have the conversation coming up in a bit. But before we go, I got to tell you about my good friends over at Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Get to a Lady Jane's near you. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. No appointment necessary. Their awesome stylists will take care of you like they take care of me. So get to a Lady Jane's near you. And remember, Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
It's back. Year 3 of Woodward Sports Stuff-A Studio is here. The past 2 years, we've collected new unwrapped toys and stuffed our studio so we could hardly fit in it. This year, we're doing it even bigger. Join Woodward Sports and our whole family December 19th to the 23rd as we stuff our studio. While you're out shopping or just sitting on your couch ordering presents, make sure you grab 1 extra and drop it off at our studio, 15 Mile in Woodward in Birmingham. We'll be collecting toys around the clock to make sure every child in Mott's Children's Hospital feels the warmth of the holiday season. It's the time of year to do for others. Help us stuff our studio. Special thanks to all the wonderful elves at Meyer and Guardian Alarm for keeping the toys safe. Stuff-A Studio 2022 with Woodward Sports.
Hey, it's Sean Jordan from the Sports Marketing Agency, and SMA wouldn't be who we are without our amazing partners.
Thank you so much, Sean. At Detroit Wayne, we want to serve as a resource for you and your families. We offer mental health services, substance use disorder services throughout our communities, and we want to be that source and resource within the community.
If you or a loved one are suffering from a mental health or substance abuse issue, please don't hesitate to call 1-800-241-4949.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
All right, let me tell you about my good friend, Michael Phillips. Whether you're looking to buy, sell, or invest, Michael Phillips is the guy for you. Being in the game for over 23 years makes Michael the number one option for you, your family members, and your close friends. So what are you waiting for? Give him a call, 313-403-0011. That's 313-403-0011. We are back here on the Morning Woodward Show, live from Big Boy out in Wyandotte.
The Christmas spirit.
Ooh, I love the Christmas music.
I do too.
I love it.
Yeah,
Did you put your tree up yet?
Yeah, we don't play. We did it right after Halloween. We're sick.
No, it's all right. We did it right before Thanksgiving.
Okay, we're sick, yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. You got to enjoy this time of the year.
Yeah, no question.
All right. Everybody, the Lions are in the picture. They are in the graphic. How realistic it is a whole different conversation. Yeah. But I want to talk about right now is this wild card hunt and if they actually legitimately have a chance. So, Jeff, I'll start with you. They don't own the tiebreaker anymore because of the tie with Washington and New York.
Mm-hmm.
What is the path to get the final wild card spot? Is it winning out or winning 4 or 5?
I would say win out. And I'll tell you this. I went and looked at the schedule for the Commanders and the Seahawks. So those are the teams that sit above the Lions. Commanders, their next 4 opponents, I'll read them off for you. Commanders, they play the Giants. Again, they play the 49ers, the Browns, and the Bucks. So realistically, you could lose 4 of those games, but I doubt it. But I would probably pick against the Commanders in all 4 of those games. Seahawks, these are their next 4 opponents. The Panthers, probably a win. Then they play the 49ers, Chiefs, and Jets. So realistically, it's tough for me to say whether the Lions will make the playoffs. I doubt it, and I'll even go a step further. If the Lions make the playoffs, I'll get a mullet. I will get a mullet until the Super Bowl. And I'm not joking around. I'll have a mullet on this show.
See that.
I will. Because, again, if the Lions make the playoffs, it's a win-win. I mean, I don't care if I have a mullet. So I promise you, the Morning Woodward Show audience, I will get a mullet if the Lions make the playoffs. That's how small of a percentage they have. But you need the Commanders to lose out. You need the Seahawks to lose out.
Lose out?
Pretty much. Because I think they're sitting at
7-5-1 for the Commanders,
yeah, so
7-4-1,
they have
I think, for the Giants.
two less losses. You need them to completely lose out. You need the Lions to win out. So it's incredibly unlikely, but it could happen. So that's the path of the Lions. They got to go undefeated down the stretch. And you need those 2 other teams to drop those games, which they do play tough opponents.
Let's include the Seahawks in that conversation a little bit, right? So the Seahawks are a team that do own the tiebreaker with you currently. And they are 6, I believe.
Yes.
In the current standings. So, excuse me, they are 7. I lied. Washington is sitting there at 8, and then the Lions are at 9.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the Seahawks at 7-5, and they're going to win another game or 2.
Yeah.
And that's the conversation we need to have. Forget Washington. Can the Seahawks or the Giants finish 9-8 or 9-7-1?
Right.
That's the question. And that would require you to do what, Jeff? Win out.
Right.
But if you win 4 or 5 and you finish the year with 9 wins, your margin for error is 0. You have 0 margin for error right now. So as much as it's nice to be on the graphic, as much as it's nice to talk about it, it's not that realistic unless these teams lose 4 of their next 5 games.
That's
it. Is that going to happen?
Lions fans, hopeful Lions fans, yes, but it's a very small percentage. I mean, the bigger picture Lions fans should look at is you're playing these meaningful games in December. I mean, regardless if you make the playoffs or not, this is what you asked of your football team. This is what you asked of Dan Campbell, and he's gotten you there. So, again, I appreciate that we're even having this discussion because at 1-6, Adam, this is probably the last thing I thought we'd be talking about at this point in the season. But, hey, they have a chance. The NFC is really bad this year, and you need a lot of things to go your way for them to even squeeze in a wild card spot. So, it's a tough thing to ask.
Adam clean shaven if the Lions make the Super Bowl deal. That's not going to happen, so I'm not even worried.
I'll shave my head if they make the Super Bowl.
I will shave everything but my mustache. How about that? If the Lions are able to sneak in, I'm willing to do that.
No, you're not.
I'm willing to do that. Now, it's your guys' fault. You're going to have to stare at me.
No, I would have to. I'd have to stare at you.
But that's a whole different conversation.
Oh, my gosh.
Man. Can we pivot a little bit? So we're talking about playoffs. We're talking about the teams that are currently in there.
Right.
How much better is the roster in New York than it is in Detroit? How much better is the roster in Washington than it is in Detroit? How much better is the roster in Seattle than it is in Detroit? And why I'm going to ask you this, Jeff, is I don't think it's far off if you think one way or the other. And again, the last 5 weeks are what you should have been from week 1. A team that was a pain in the ass to play against. A team that could do anything you wanted on offense. Throw, pass, you could do whatever the hell you wanted because you had a top offensive line, a capable quarterback, a capable run game, and an unguardable wide receiver in Amon-Ra St. Brown. And it took you digging yourself into a 1-6 hole to finally get things going. And that's great. And you finally got it. And you, quote, salvaged your season to an extent. But are the Giants, Seahawks, and the Commanders that much better than Detroit? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah, because you could say right now Lions have the best offense out of all those teams. Defensively, it's probably a toss-up. I think the Giants have a slightly better defense, but to your point, no. I think you can make that argument. It's tough when you start that bad. The Seahawks have been good since the beginning of the season. The Giants have been good since the beginning of the season. Really, the biggest surprise to me is the Commanders and how they've played, because this is a team you completely picked apart week 2. They made the quarterback change, and now they're in the playoff conversation, so it's tough. It really is. If I'm gonna say yes or no, I would say no. I don't think they make the playoffs, but I think they just come short, and that's a good thing. That's what you want. This is what we asked of Dan.
The last 5 weeks have been so impressive, and
stay
if
in
they
the conversation.
can continue this down the stretch, regardless if they make the playoffs or not, I think most of you in the chat would be very optimistic going into next year, where you could actually have the conversation. Hey, this is the year we contend for the division, not win it, but you contend. Where you're a game and a half out going into December. That's the conversation you'll be having legitimately next year, because the offense is there, and you're going to have 3 picks within the first, 72, 75 at the moment. You're going to be able to upgrade this defense, add multiple starters on multiple fronts.
Right.
The team is getting there, and all you needed was to not only win, but show that you could coach, show that you could game plan, show that you could execute. And they've been doing that the last 5 weeks, Jeff. They really have.
Yeah, no question. Again, young players getting better. Defense getting better. They're on the rise now. They're playing some of their best football. This is exactly what you want to see to close the season. They did this last season to end the season. They did 3-3 down the stretch. But this is different. I mean, winning 4 out of the last 5, and they have an opportunity to go 4-1. I mean, that would put them at what? What would that be?
Say it again.
7. If they win 4-1 the last stretch, they already won 4 out of the last
8-9.
But what would they be during that stretch of winning games? It'd be like 7-2 or something like that. 8 and.
If they go 4-1 down the stretch,
and they already won
8-2.
Like that would be.
They would finish the season 8-2 after
unbelievable.
starting 1-6.
Yeah, that'd be unbelievable. So it's good. It's good momentum. I always say, Uncle T always says, wins don't transfer to next season, but still, that's great to build on.
Yeah, it's not about the wins transferring though. You need to show why you are capable of going out and doing something.
Right.
And if they do win 3 of the next 5, 4, dare I say, of the next 5, you know what's going to happen, Jeff? You're going to go into the draft thinking, all right, well, we have a few holes here. Let's fill them up.
Yep.
We have some money to spend. And all of a sudden, you are going to leapfrog Green Bay. You're going to leapfrog Chicago.
Yeah.
And the conversation is, can you contend with Minnesota next year for the division? And you know what? The early answer to that question is yes. You absolutely can. Because you outplayed them in Minnesota, and now you're the favorite home playing against them this week. You aren't far away. And you weren't a 1-6 football team. We talked about this. Yeah. They were better than their record. 1-6 was an indictment on not their talent or capabilities. It was an indictment on coaching and decisions that cost them games. They should have been 3-3 at worst in that stretch, given how they played. Forget the schedule, how they played in those games. And if they were 3-3 in that stretch, what's the conversation we're having now?
Can they stay in?
They would be 7-4.
Can they stay in the playoff
They
picture?
would be, not 7-4. They would be 7-5.
Yeah. Like the other teams like we're talking about, Seahawks and Commanders.
And then you're talking about a team that's not only in the conversation, you expect them to win the division next year.
Right.
So again, you have to bring a little context to that 1-6 start. As frustrating as it was, I think we all agreed at the time it was an indictment on coaching. I know there are a handful of you, a lot of you actually, that didn't like that. But that's the reality. And just like 1-6 was an indictment on coaching, the last 4-5 games is a consequence of coaching and the improvement they've made. So they, yes, get the flack. They also get the credit. 5-7. You have your last 5 games of the season ahead of you. I'm interested.
I
I'm
love
very
this
interested.
comment, by the way, from Funky, WoodwardSports.com, the chat thread. Winning 4 out of the next 5 makes free agents look at the team easier. And that's the biggest thing, right? Pitching to free agents, what you're building. And you're going to have money freed up. You're going to have draft picks, plenty of draft picks. So, again, future very bright in Detroit. And you got a good man at the helm in Brad Holmes. And Chuck also says, WoodwardSports.com, except I think the Lions are not far from the favorite next year. That's not because the Lions will be that great. Green Bay and Chicago won't be good, and I'm not sold on the Vikings. See, that's the scenario you're dealing with here. Is the Lions, at least in the NFC North, besides the Vikings, because they're winning now, they really do have the brightest future, which is crazy to say that, with the money they have available, the draft picks, the players they have right now on rookie deals, some of their pillars, their pillar players, their franchise players on rookie deals, and Jared Goff playing his best football. If he could continue this next season, no question, Adam, the Lions should be contending. It should be between them and Minnesota. Who wins the NFC North? It's going to be up to them. And they already almost beat them earlier in the year, and we'll see what happens this week.
All right, well, let's take a quick pause from the Lions. When we get back, season in review with the Michigan Wolverines, 13-0, a Big Ten championship, a college football playoff appearance. They will play TCU down the stretch in the college football playoff semifinal. We'll get to that and so much more coming up in a bit, but before we do, Jeff, our good friends over at Cintron.
Well, guys, Cintron is the official energy drink of the Red Wings, which got a win in Tampa last night. Cintron has combined all 3 of their delicious flavors into a limited edition 6-pack sampler box. You can try Cintron's great tasting cranberry, classic, and sugar-free all in one pack. Pre-order your Cintron 6-pack sampler box today at cintronworld.com/Red Wings. Get energized with Cintron.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
What's a winter wonderland if you can't shop, eat, and play? Lucky for you, you can do it all at the Downtown Detroit Markets, Cadillac Lodge, and the new winter version of the Monroe Street Midway, all located just across the street from Campus Martius Park. Find the fun at deckedoutdetroit.com.
Hi, I'm John from Better Rate Mortgage, and to me, family is more than blood. That's why I have the biggest family in Metro Detroit. If you're looking to buy a house or refinance and need a loan, come get treated better than family by me and our entire team here at Better Rate Mortgage. We pride ourselves on giving you better advice, better service, and a better loan experience. That's why we are Better Rate. If you're looking for a new mortgage, come get treated like family. Actually, better with Better Rate Mortgage. Visit us at mybetterrate.com or call at 248-480-4467 today.
Thank you to all the fans for making Woodward Sports your #1 online destination for Detroit sports. We promise not to drop the ball.
About Custom Health for a while now, and the job they've done with Ryan. You can see Kyle on the screen, down 38 pounds, thanks to Dr. Jason and his awesome team over at Custom Health Centers. Check them out. Get it started today. It's a safe and healthy way to lose weight. 844-789-8446. That's 844-789-8446. And we are back here on the Morning Woodward Show. And let's go in season. Let's recap where this went, because the Lions, the Wolverines, and their football team have been nothing short of exceptional. I think this is the best Michigan football team they've put out there since, you could argue, 2006 or 97.
Yeah.
And they've done it all these last 2 years. And when I say it all, I mean, let's go back to when, all of you wanted Jim Harbaugh fired, and, it was a fire drill in the COVID season, and the world is falling apart, and they lost to Michigan State 2 years ago, and oh my goodness, everything's gone. Kenneth Walker ran for 5 touchdowns. We blew a 14-point lead, whatever it was. You've since then gone 2-0 against Ohio State, have clinched 2 college football playoff appearances, won back-to-back Big Ten championships, and have beaten Michigan State. You've beaten Penn State twice. You've beaten Iowa. You've beaten all the teams. You've gone undefeated this year. 13-0 for the first time in program history. You beat TCU. It'll be the 14th win the first time in program history. And you would have clinched a spot in the national title game. Michigan's season has been nothing short of exceptional.
Mm-hmm.
And when we talk about why Jim Harbaugh was brought to Michigan, why they paid him what they did, why the recruiting, Tom Brady, they got the number 1 recruit, Rashawn Gary, all those years ago, the top 6, top 5, top 3 recruiting classes. When's Jim Harbaugh going to deliver? Will he finally deliver? If you understood your history, you knew that Michigan never delivered. That was never a reality. That was never a reality. And then he showed up, and he brought you back to where you thought you should be. But that was never where you were at.
Right.
And then you got a little greedy, and you said, well, it's not good enough. And then he took it to the next level, and he went back to his core foundation. And I think the number 1 move was getting rid of Don Brown, of course. But he went back to his core. They played better defense. They ran the ball more effectively. The offensive line controlling games. And since then, they are 23-1 in the regular season, 2-0 in Big Ten title games. And we're about to see them, hopefully, 9.5-point favorites against TCU, beat TCU, and get to their first college football playoff championship game.
And you know what they're finally doing, too? They're finally doing what the great teams in college football do, which is maintaining depth to sustain success. I mean, you look at last year, losing, and I'll start with the players, then I'll go to the coaches. Players, you lose guys like Aiden Hutchinson, David Ajabo, Daxton Hill, Hassan Haskins. Now, you have guys like Mozzie Smith, Mike Morris, Will Johnson, Rod Moore, Blake Corum now having the season he's had. And when he goes down for the season, boom, here comes Donovan Edwards. And then you go to the coaches. You lose Josh Gaddis last season, Burroughs Award winner. You lose Mike McDonald, a guy that everyone would credit to, a big reason why they had so much success defensively last season. Insert Sharon Moore, insert Matt Weiss, insert Jesse Minter. I mean, and this reminds me a lot of what Georgia. Now, Georgia, obviously, they won the national championship. Different animal right now for the time being. But look at what Georgia did. They lose a ton of guys last year to the NFL draft. And just like Michigan, they lose their stud DC in Dan Lanning. They lose him to Oregon. He takes the head coaching job. What happens? They replace him with co-defensive coordinators, Will Muschamp and Glenn Schumann, and they're undefeated the following year. Like, this is what great teams do. You replace those you lose, and you still are able to sustain that success. So Michigan's been doing that, and there is a slight talent difference. Obviously, Georgia has tons of 5 stars. Michigan's done it their way, but that's what great teams do. And even if you look at what they did the last 2 seasons, you beat Ohio State twice. You only allow 50 points in both games, one being at home at Ann Arbor, the other being at the Horseshoe. You lose a close game 2 years ago to Michigan State, last season in Michigan State, a game you probably should have won if it wasn't for Kenneth Walker and the performance he had. You answer that call this year with a dominant win. Michigan continues to answer the call and answer questions we in the media have had for Jim Harbaugh for years. And I got to give credit to Jim Harbaugh in this instance. His ability to hire staff, right? And you talk about the firing of Don Moore, what he's been able to do and the staff he's been able to put together to relate to the players, getting younger, innovative minds alongside him, allowing them to do their jobs. Those guys are putting players in positions to succeed. I think Jim deserves a ton of credit with how he's handled that, along with really just players coming to shine this year, especially, and replacing those you lost last season. And that's what Michigan's got to continue to do. You're going to lose players to the draft. How do you replace them? How do you maintain that depth? And it starts with recruiting. And I'll tell you this, making the college football playoff twice in 2 seasons, beating Ohio State twice in 2 seasons, and we'll see what they can do if they beat TCU, they make a national championship, dare I say they win a national championship. Recruiting will be there. They're going to have opportunities to recruit athletes. Now, you might not get the athletes Georgia has, but still, they're going to have the cachet now. Finally, you're going to have a pitch for these guys. So Michigan, that's the biggest thing I take away from it, Adam, is how they've been able to sustain depth, even losing talent, even losing coaches. Jim's found ways to still, the following season, get better and win games and win the Big Ten back-to-back years. So
what did we talk
that's good
about
program.
Before the season? when it was Cade McNamara and J.J. McCarthy fighting for the job. The conversation was you could go undefeated and you could go to Columbus and win because of, not with, because of J.J. McCarthy. Mm-hmm. How'd the season play out with him as a starter?
Exactly how you saw it playing out. Having a dynamic quarterback doesn't turn the ball over.
He didn't turn the ball over.
Yep.
He did his job. He was more of a game manager than we thought he would be going into the season. But against Ohio State, he delivered everything and more.
Absolutely.
And you won because of him.
Not with him.
Not with him. Yeah. Not in spite of him. You won because of him.
Yeah.
And that's what J.J. McCarthy brought to the table going into the offseason. So you're 13-0. You have a 5-star quarterback.
Right.
And now you can pitch me. Again, you got to always look in the future. As much as it is you want to stay in the present and enjoy the moment. You're Michigan. Think about this, Michigan fans. Dante Moore, any of these recruits out there currently, they're looking at J.J. McCarthy and saying, well, damn. Though, if they open it up a little bit more, man, I would love to be a Wolverine.
That might be Jaden Davis.
That offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
They get some more wide receivers. That run game, take the pressure off me. That's a complete football team. Good defense. Play under Jim Harbaugh. The key thing here is, can you recruit 3, 4, 5-star receivers and a quarterback again? And I think J.J. Donovan Edwards, this unit, this core for this year and next year, could reshape the entire landscape of recruiting in the Big Ten. I do.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is important for you as a young man who you're trying to make a decision on which college to go play at. Yeah, why wouldn't I go to USC? Why wouldn't I go to Oregon? They're throwing the ball a ton. Why wouldn't I go to all these schools where my abilities are showcased more than it would be at Michigan under Cade McNamara? And even JJ now, he's been a game manager. And what Michigan need to do is find the balance between, hey, look, I'm going to recruit you, Jeff. You're a 5-star quarterback. I am going to tell you, look, we're not going to ask you to win every game. We are a very complete football team here. We play offense the right way. We play defense the right way. We've got a very good offensive line. We have so much depth at running back. Having said that, we also will rely on you throughout the season to make big-time throws. We are going to give you the keys to the program. And what you can do is not only win, but you will be effective and you will look very good as a quarterback here at the University of Michigan. Yep. That is the pitch now, especially with JJ there.
Right, and you talk about recruiting. You still have an opportunity, Michigan does, to get Jaden Davis. He's a high-level recruit. I think he's a 4 or 5-star quarterback. But even on top of that, you see what JJ's doing, starting his sophomore season, performing the way he's performed. Not only does that should attract quarterbacks in the future, giving him that opportunity, seeing JJ have success, but also skill position players. Getting an opportunity to play with guys like JJ or Jaden Davis or whoever, insert name here, that's going to be your pitch. That's why Alabama and Georgia are able to recruit, because they see really the offense they're stepping into. Are they going to be able to get drafted high? That's really what guys are looking at. That's why wide receivers go to Ohio State. That's why they go to Alabama. And Michigan has proven they can get guys drafted defensively. They can get running backs drafted. But skill position-wise, really the last person to be drafted in the first round, Braylon Edwards, our own guy here at Woodward Sports Network. So that's the next step is yes, they have the talent defensively. You're able to get offensive linemen. You're able to get running backs. And now you have JJ. Hopefully you'll be able to get quarterbacks. But there's a reason why when Clemson got Trevor Lawrence, or they had Deshaun Watson, they had great wide receivers because guys were coming to play with those quarterbacks. So in the future, that's Michigan's goal, is how do we get better on the outside at the skill position players. That's the next step for them.
A lot of you are pointing out, they need to see how these players get drafted. Do you know where Michigan are, Jeff? Over the last 5 years, in all of FBS, you know what teams have drafted more or have had more players drafted in the last 5 years since 2017? Alabama at number 1, Ohio State at number 2, LSU at number 3, Michigan at 4. Michigan, since 2017, have had the 4th most players drafted in the NFL draft. Excuse me?
That part, yeah.
That is a recruiting pitch in and of itself. And that doesn't even include last year where you had Dax Hill, Aiden Hutchinson, David Ajabo. 2017 to 2021, You had the 4th most players drafted in the NFL draft. That's the pitch. That's the pitch. On top of the winning now. Yeah. On top of the winning now, you have everything. We've won back-to-back Big Ten championships. We own, quote, we own Ohio State, right? That's going to be the pitch, whether people like it or not. We are the biggest brand in the Big Ten. We are going to go on a run, or we expect to go on a run over the next 10 years like Ohio State did. The Big Ten now goes through Michigan. That's always going to be the talk and the what's the word I'm looking for? The pitch. So I'm excited for Michigan's future. I think they've got a lot ahead of them. Beating TCU, I think, is the ultimate selling point.
Yes, it is.
You can win a college football playoff game, represent yourself in a national title game. You've got a lot to look forward to. What a season. 13-0, Big Ten championship, college football playoff appearance. Very, very, very excited. Let's see. Let's see what else we have.
I was looking at some of these comments, too, and I love this one. Steve-O says, coaching up 3 stars can win the Big Ten, but it isn't going to win a national championship. And I think that's the biggest thing to take away.
I think we all know this. That's why they got punched in the face last year against Georgia. But this year, 5-star players, where are they? Will Johnson, Donovan Edwards, J.J. McCarthy, there you go.
Yeah.
And if you win against TCU, again, your pitch changes completely. You can go toe-to-toe with Ohio State. You can make that argument. Now, what Michigan, the problem they have is, how do you convince the elite wide receivers? How do you convince the elite wide receivers to come? How do you convince those skill position players to come play at the University of Michigan? Because you aren't ripping the ball 28, 29 times a game. You aren't. They aren't going to get 7, 8 targets a game. Ronnie Bell at times went games with only 1 and 2 targets, and he's the best receiver on the team. So that's going to be interesting. Adam, are you on mute? Or excuse me, Adam, are you a mute about the new Mozzie Smith information? To me, what do you guys want me to say? Honest to God. We got a few minutes. Let's do it. Mozzie Smith, he's an idiot. He's an idiot. And I don't hate the kid. I don't hate him at all. I have nothing against the kid. I think the problem here clearly is with the DA. It's with the university, the AD.
Yes.
It's with the prosecutor's office. And I have nothing more to say. I don't know what I'm supposed to say here outside of I think it's stupid that we were crying assault and murder and oh my goodness for weeks while Mozzie Smith, low-key under the carpet, had a gun felony.
Yeah, pretty bit, yeah.
So it's frustrating. But I'm not going to sit here and talk about it for 15 minutes like it's worthy for what? What are we going to accomplish? What? It's going to piss off Michigan State fans, and Michigan fans are going to act like nothing happened. We're not going to get anywhere with it. So I'm not going to waste my time with it. Let's take a break. When we get back, drafting quality. Brad Holmes has done an exceptional job in the NFL draft, and they have 10 players right now who you could see on the roster 2-3 years from now that he has drafted. The Titans GM just got fired because he couldn't get one player to stake around for a second contract. And the Titans were winning.
Never had a losing record under him, the general manager. So, yeah.
Brad Holmes is building something, and we alluded to this in the offseason, and it's now been compounded and brought into the light now that the team is having success. We'll get to Brad Holmes and the draft coming up in just a bit, but before we do, Jeff, the best defense on and off the field.
Let me tell you about them, guys. We talk about how the Lions' defense has turned things around. Guardian Alarm is always consistent. They're willing to protect your home. If you call 1-800-STAY-OUT, and that is 1-800-STAY-OUT. They can provide you 24/7 protection. Let them know your friends at Woodward Sports sent you.
Poutine. How do you not?
It's back. Year 3 of Woodward Sports Stuff a Studio is here. The past 2 years, we've collected new unwrapped toys and stuffed our studio so we could hardly fit in it. This year, we're doing it even bigger. Join Woodward Sports and our whole family December 19th to the 23rd as we stuff our studio. While you're out shopping or just sitting on your couch ordering presents, make sure you grab one extra and drop it off at our studio, 15 Mile in Woodward and Birmingham. We'll be collecting toys around around the clock to make sure every child in Mott's Children's Hospital feels the warmth of the holiday season. It's the time of year to do for others. Help us stuff our studio. Special thanks to all the wonderful elves at Meyer and Guardian Alarm for keeping the toys safe. Stuff a Studio 2022 with Woodward Sports.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Krogers, and if you wanna know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Jeff Iafrate here. Let me tell you about our friends at Moneyball Sportswear, because it is your one-stop shop. If you want the latest look in athletic apparel, or you simply need new uniforms for your team, Moneyball has it all. Stop in Moneyball's showroom in Southfield and experience the only way to ball, or visit moneyballsportswear.com.
All right, smile and say freeze. And what does that mean? Well, I'll tell you what I'm doing this weekend. I'm going to take my nephews, and we're going to head down to the Monroe Street Midway, because Santa's showing up from November 8th to December 22nd on Thursdays and Fridays. So Friday I'll be there taking my little nephew. It's a little shit. I got to go get him pictures with Santa. That's going to be awesome.
One of the best times of the year.
Coming soon also, by the way, the Woodward Sports Winter Olympics. You're going to have an opportunity to go up against myself, Jeff, Braylon, Mads, the whole team in the Monroe Street Midway games from
Where's my name in
Slides. Winter bumper cars, puck putt, Midway arcades, you name it, we're going to be doing it. I can't wait. It's going to be so fun.
I would dominate you in all those.
How do you
not?
You know. How do you not?
Jeff, look, maybe the one thing you get on me is basketball, all right? Because you're like a hybrid white guy that played a lot of basketball, okay? Maybe I give you basketball. I do.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
If we're talking spiral,
you got nothing else. No, you don't got football. You don't got golf. You don't got baseball. You got nothing outside of basketball. So you better hope there's a basketball there. That's it.
I'll beat you in a 40. Because your knee.
I don't know. We should do that.
I don't know.
Maybe we'll come down Sunday. We'll have Mads do the show. Me and Jeff will come do a 40 downtown at Ford Field.
That would be hilarious.
God. All right.
Oh, let's do
it.
Look,
we've talked about Brad Holmes so much, and the job he's done, and look, there's a lot of you watching today, and I know a lot of you are a little quiet on your Brad Holmes criticism. It was Brad Holmes' fault that the team was 1-6. It wasn't your stupid head coach who continued to find ways to lose games. Whatever. I'm gonna ignore it. Act like it never happened. Brad Holmes has drafted 10 players at the moment that are contributing week in and week out, Jeff. 10 players. And with this upcoming draft, 2 picks in the first round, 2 picks in the second round, 2 picks in the third round, your team is going to be as close to being, quote, complete as it ever has been. What's the smile for?
Because you're right.
I love you, buddy. Brad Holmes has done an excellent job in the draft. Now, he still has to follow up in free agency. You have a few holes you need to fix, and it can't just be all young players, although you have seen to have some success in the NFL. You're going to want to add some veteran pieces as well. And it wouldn't shock me this year, and I'll put it on all of your radars now, if they go out and trade a second-round pick or a third and a fifth or a third and a sixth for a veteran linebacker who's got 2 years left on his deal, 3 years left on his deal maybe. Or maybe they give up a fourth or a fifth for a linebacker entering his final year of his contract. And they agree to extend him. There are moves outside of just drafting this offseason that you're going to be able to say, oh, wow, that team just got a whole lot better.
Right.
The Lions must focus on the interior, the secondary, and linebacker. They need it. And you've got 5-6 picks to figure it out. And I think they will. Brad Holmes has given me nothing but information, giving me nothing but evidence that he knows how to draft.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, nobody bats 100 in the NFL, by the way. No GM. Howie Roseman, I believe, passed on Justin Jefferson for, who was it? Jalen Reagor?
And don't forget about DK Metcalf,
or,
too.
Rager, how the hell he say his last name? Rager.
Yeah, they passed on DK as well. I mean, you make mistakes.
Yeah, everybody makes mistakes, right? The Lions passed on Aaron Donald, Odell Beckham, and everyone else.
Right.
It happens.
Right.
So, yes, he missed on Levi O. But look at all his hits. Aiden Hutchinson. You expect J-Mo to be a hit, but I can't say that yet until he's played. Penei Sewell. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Derek Barnes giving you minutes. Malcolm Rodriguez giving you snaps. Yep. I mean, this is really building up here. And you have a very good opportunity. Josh Pascal, not James Houston, emerging. Jeff, I'm uber confident in this GM going into the offseason.
No, and that's all you can ask for, right? For Brad, it was find 2 to 3 starters per draft. He's done exactly that. And how you measure a good GM and what Brad's checked off so far, especially bringing Brad in and his past, his experience working in L.A. In the scouting department. His job was basically identify talent in the draft. He did that in L.A. You bring him to Detroit. That's really what you're measuring Brad on, is how can you identify talent in the draft. But it's not just that. He's a general manager, and you're looking at multiple things for Brad, right? You're looking at free agency. You're looking at trades on top of can you find talent in the draft. And then obviously player relationships, which he's done a great job with that. Draft, you could say he's checked that off, no question. Trades, I love the deal he made trading TJ Hawkinson. I know it was in the division, which that was probably my only issue with it. But for what he got for TJ, no question. Have no issue with that trade whatsoever. So I give him credit for that. I know his first trade he made when he was hired wasn't the best. I mean, trading for Trinity Benson for a 5th-round pick, it is what it is. I mean, Trinity Benson, that's a bust. But more so, you look at free agency. He hasn't really gotten an opportunity to do that so far. I mean, yes, he spent minimal money. He signed Brockers to a 2-year, $10 million contract. You signed Charles Harris, 2-year, $14 million contract. He hasn't really made huge moves yet. I know Romeo Okwara was extended as well, but you're waiting till this upcoming offseason. You're going to have opportunities to see this with Brad and see how he continues to build this roster, because I agree with you, Adam. Majority of the help is defensively. How does he address that? Is it through free agency? Is it through trades? Does he bring in a veteran? Or is it just continue to draft players? Because the benefit of what he's been able to do so far in Detroit is not only find talent, but have this talent on rookie contracts. I mean, you're paying Amon-Ra St. Brown minimum money. You're paying Aleem McNeil minimum money. Kirby Joseph minimum money. I mean, these guys are playing they're starters on your defense. So, again, Brad deserves all the credit. I think he's done a fantastic job at least giving Dan Campbell all the necessary tools. I know this season, especially to start off, you have such a young roster, but that's the coach's job, to get these guys ready, to get them playing above expectations, and so far it's coming to fruition. So Brad has done his job. I never understood the Brad Holmes criticism because he missed on Levi O. I mean, you missed on Levi only, and even Josh Pascal, he played. He's made an impact. I mean, you can't really say Josh is a bust either.
Facts don't matter, Jeff. Shut the hell up.
Yeah, but facts don't matter. Brad stinks, according to people.
Let's pivot because they brought it up. I did not bring this up. We'll start with Jason Wright. 3 firsts for Lamar, and then sign him to a 10-year, $450 million contract.
He's trolling.
Here's what I want you to do, Jason. I want you to go step on I-94 and just stand in the middle of the freeway. Okay. Now, what happens after that, I can't guarantee you. Now, there is a likely chance that you die, but I think you get my point. I would rather die than give up 3 first-round picks for Lamar Jackson right now. and then pay him $45 million a year? He's asking for 50, 55 plus.
Adam, he said 10-year, right?
10 years. Lamar won't be alive in 10 years.
He could be out of. You never know with how
the stupidity
he plays.
Of Lamar Jackson. Look, right now, can Jared Goff make the throws Lamar Jackson can? Yes. Can Lamar make the throws Jared Goff makes?
I don't think so.
It would be a toss-up, but also his weapons aren't the best, so you can defend Lamar there. But I don't want a Lamar Jackson-type quarterback. It's not my style. And I'm not giving up 3 first-round picks. That could be an interior lineman. That could be a linebacker. That could be a secondary player. That could be anything. Can be a future quarterback, a future franchise quarterback. You want me to give all that up for Lamar Jackson, who I'm going to have to pay $450 million guaranteed?
It's
nuts.
different having Lamar on a rookie deal. And yes, Lamar's a winner. He's won games. But for what you'd have to fork up for Lamar and pay him,
what's that mean?
And be tied up in your cap space. Look at what the Ravens can't do right now. They have no talent around Lamar on the outside with the wide receiver core. If you're paying Lamar $45 million, good luck.
Something?
Good luck extending Amon-Ra. Good luck extending Penei Sewell. Go on. What was your question?
Who's the white guy? The white guy meme. I forget what it is. Like he's in the store and he's yelling at the dude.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What the hell is
the white guy meme that he's in a store yelling at a dude?
Oh, you're not that guy, pal.
Oh yeah, you're
Lamar
not that guy.
is not that guy. He isn't. I'm not giving the keys to my franchise to Lamar Jackson. I don't want to pay Dak. I don't want to pay Kyler. I don't want to pay Kirk Cousins. I don't want to pay Ryan Tannehill $40, $50 million a year. It's not going to happen ever. I don't want to pay these quarterbacks. I would rather have a quarterback on a rookie contract, and if he ends up being a franchise quarterback, then you can pay him. Oh, this is my favorite. Detroit Mate said, Lamar won an MVP. All right, you dumb motherfucker. Let's have the conversation. You want to talk about Lamar winning an MVP? Let's bring it all into context, right? Second year in the NFL, he wins an MVP, my friend. You're absolutely right. And since then, he's thrown for 2,700, 2,800, and this year, 2,200 passing yards. He's gone down from his touchdown to interception ratio. His completion percentage has gone down year over year. His quarterback rating has gone down year over year. His QBR has gone down year over year. He is regressing. And you want to talk to me about his MVP season that happened 3 years ago, where he ran for 1,200 yards. And now he can't run for 1,200 yards anymore. Why? He's going to start losing his step. He's going to start losing his legs. And now he's starting to get injured more often. He was injured a bit last year, and now he's injured again this year. You want me to invest $50+ million guaranteed annually for him? Get the fuck out of here, man. Talk to me about an MVP season that happened 3 years ago. What a joke.
Yeah.
What a joke.
Yeah,
There are quarterbacks in the NFL that you back up the Brinks truck for. You know who they are? Josh Allen.
Joe Burrow.
Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
Justin
all those
Herbert.
Guys. Yep.
Those are the quarterbacks you back up the truck for. I don't have to worry about your attitude. I don't have to worry about you getting hurt. I don't have to worry about anything. And, of course, they are known for throwing the football. That is what I want to know about you, number one. Can you make all the throws off platform, on platform, in the pocket, out of the pocket? Shut the hell up, all of you Lamar Jackson people. What a joke. Lamar to Detroit. That would set this franchise back immediately because they would be good for a year, maybe 2. And then he would start getting hurt, and you wouldn't have money to compensate for everybody around him.
Yeah. No, Lamar, listen.
Stop it.
Lamar, again, he has all the tangibles. He has the personality to be a franchise quarterback. But to your point, skill-wise and what you'd be paying him, hell no. I'm good.
Would you pay Justin Fields 10 years? Well, not 10 years. Let's say 6 years, $300 million.
No, I would no.
Would you pay Justin Fields a franchise quarterback contract?
No.
Would you give him
right now? No.
No? Okay. That's fair.
Not so.
I'm not sold on him either, but the problem I have with him isn't that I don't think he's talented. I think Lamar is uber talented.
Absolutely.
I think Lamar is one of the 10 best quarterbacks in the NFL.
I would agree.
I don't want him.
I'll watch him
because
from afar.
I can't rely on him. I question his ability to throw the football.
Yeah.
And more importantly, I'm sorry, I don't think he lasts in the NFL. It's never been done before. It's never been done.
Yeah.
What is he when you take away his legs? He's a subpar quarterback. You give him his legs. Oh, man, Lamar Jackson, my goodness, dynamic quarterback, this and that.
But you don't want him to get hurt. So it's like you have to find this balance
There
with
is
Lamar.
no balance. Look at his game sheets this year. He's played games where he's thrown the ball 16 times for 100 yards. He's thrown under 200 yards on 6 occasions. He's thrown for less than 220 yards on 9 occasions. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. What are we doing here?
And I don't get people, too. They look at Baltimore struggling to pay him right now.
Baltimore like doing this smart thing.
Like, that shouldn't set off a red flag in your mind. If he's Baltimore's guy, pay him. And I've been advocating for that.
Arizona locked up Kyler Murray before Lamar
and
got locked
we've
up.
had our time crapping on Kyler.
We have our issues with Kyler Murray.
We crap on Kyler Murray.
Let's take a break. When we get back, the Pistons beat the Miami Heat. Jeff, I want to hear from you.
Yep.
Killian Hayes finally coming into his own. Are the Pistons heading in the wrong direction? It's a question. It's a theory. It's a conversation I want to have with you. So let's do that in a bit. But before we do, Jeff, tell everybody where we're at.
Well, guys, I can smell everything where I'm sitting, and I can't wait after the show. I'm going to go get myself some breakfast. But come to Big Boy. We're out in Wyandotte. First time being here at Big Boy, and they offer tons of things for a limited time only. They have the all-new burgers and loaded fries here at Big Boy, and it's not only they have the Slim Jim, which Ryan Armani's going to get later. They have the Big Jim, the chili cheese burger, as well as the bacon blue. You can also upgrade those fries. They have the chili cheese fries, the baked potato fries, the nacho fries. If you love fries, you'll love Big Boy. Come check it out. Satisfy those taste buds at Big Boy.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Fellas, let's be honest. We like things to be easy. We like simple stuff, like sports 7 days a week. We like things uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Sign in, sit down, watch your favorite team play. And before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find all the cleanest salons in the D with spotless, sanitized rooms and trained and certified tanning professionals. Join the Pepper Club for all the best deals. They'll beat all competitors by $5. If you like fish and you want to get tan, but it's wintertime and you can't go outside, go to Chili Peppers Tanning.
Best time of the year.
Go to chilipepperstanning.com. Hottest bulbs, hottest deals, darkest tans. Your vitamin D headquarters, 27 locations, and more on the way.
Chili Peppers Tan.
That gets me every time.
I know. Chili Peppers Dan.
Oh, God.
Tell 'em
You
fish.
feel like you're squeezing your butt cheeks when you say it. It's funny as hell.
Why? How?
It's like, I don't know. That's what you sound like. You sound like you're clenching your butt cheeks when you say it.
I mean, Chili Peppers Dan?
Yeah, see, I can see you clenched up when you say it.
Okay. I never knew, but I guess.
All right. Well, breaking news, I'm sure you guys have all heard. Aaron Judge, the Yankees, 9-year deal.
Yes.
$360 million. Who gives a shit?
Wow.
Moving on. The Pistons beat the Miami
Don't disappoint
Heat.
with Julio Castillo. He loves baseball.
Yeah. The Pistons beat the Miami Heat last night. And, Jeff,
yeah,
I asked this question last night with the Woodward Pistons guys. And it was a long debate, but it was a debate that never had any closure or answers.
Yeah.
Which is, how do you build a team around three facilitators? Hayes coming into his own. He's doing it, but without Cade in the lineup.
Right.
And we all know when Cade comes back, he's the one. We know Ivy in the future can be the two, but it's Bogdanovich right now who's the two. And it's Ivy who's three. And you could argue it's Hayes 4 and then Sadiq at 5 who's coming off the bench now. So I don't like the construction of this team at the moment. I'm not saying I don't like where they're going.
Right.
But this is not what I expected. I did not expect Ivy to be more of a facilitator at the 2. I'm asking you to be my go-to scorer who can facilitate. But I want you to be a primary scorer first and then facilitate. And it seems like this offense with Dwayne Casey, everybody facilitates except one guy. Bogdanovich, who just doesn't give a shit. He'll throw up 30 shots a game.
And he makes
He's
a lot of them.
He's the only guy that is like, all right, you guys are just really going to stand here? All right, let me go up and score.
And then there's Alec Burks.
That's all I can do.
Yeah, Alec Burks as well.
So I need my star players to start scoring more.
Right.
I don't need them to just be facilitators. And my question is, how do you build a team with 3 core facilitators, Hayes, Ivy, and Cade? And what do you do when Cade does, if he does come back?
Well, it's unfortunate because you want a Cade here the whole season. This was the opportunity for these guys, those 3 guards, to be able to play together. And Killian obviously struggled earlier in the season. It's unfortunate that he starts shining when Cade's out of the lineup. He gets those opportunities. But I'm not too concerned with how the roster's constructed. It's more about for Killian and Ivy learning how to play off of Cade. No question Cade's a franchise player. No question the ball's going to be in his hands most of the time. And he's going to have to share it, especially Beydoun now here for the future. He's going to be a part of this team, which is a good thing. You have Saddiq Bey. We'll see what happens with Saddiq. Alec Burks has been playing great, one of my favorite additions, and I hope he stays as well. But for Killian, this opportunity he gets this season is unmeasurable. For him to build his confidence, for him to take on more of an offensive burden and defensive burden, and how he's responded. I know he struggled a little bit in Miami, but still, Pistons put up 40 in the fourth quarter. It was an impressive win last night. I know they didn't have Jimmy Butler, but still, Miami's a good constructed team. They really are. And you're going to Miami to play them on the road. Eric Spoelstra's one of the better coaches in the NBA. So I'm not concerned. And again, they're going to have to hire their coach eventually after Dwayne Casey. He's going to have his job, his task is going to have to be being able to fit these players together. But for Cade, Killian, and Jaden Ivey, I'm not too concerned. I think Ivey, as much as we can give him credit for being a good facilitator, he's truly a scorer. He is. With his athleticism, with his ability to penetrate, that's where Ivey's going to succeed. Cade's going to be kind of that do-it-all Swiss Army knife. He can facilitate, he can rebound, he can score at will, he can defend, and that's going to be his job. Now, Killian, his role right now, if he can keep this production up off the bench next season, this is what you want. To have a guy like Killian to be your 7th man, and dare I even say 6th man, if he does take another step, that's going to be okay. I'm not too concerned. I mean, to question, yes, there's 3 facilitators and playing them on the court together at times. You're going to have to – Killian Hayes is going to have to develop more of an offensive game. I think that's the bigger thing to take away is can Killian continue his development offensively? Because if he can, Adam, there's no question he can play off of Cade. If he can shoot like this – he can play off of Cade and Jaden Ivey. I'm not concerned about that. It's just unfortunate they haven't been able to play the whole season together. But I have no concerns of where they're going. This roster's not a complete product. They still have a draft coming up. They're going to have a high pick. They're going to have free agency, plenty of money available. So, again, I'm going to wait and judge this roster until it's constructed as it is. Troy Weaver still has plenty of work to do. But to your question, it's really about Killian Hayes and his offensive game. If it can keep developing at him, I don't have questions about him playing with Cade or Jaden Ivey because that'll mean he can play off ball. If he can shoot, if he can play like he's been playing, I'm not concerned at all. Especially if he comes off the bench, he plays with that second unit. He'll have more talent around him. He'll get the opportunities. So
it's more clear to me that Saddiq Bey has no future with this team.
And it's slowly looking that way, unfortunately.
Fair.
It's fair.
He will not come off the bench in Detroit. He will go somewhere else and be a 2 or a 3.
Yeah.
And I don't think he can be a superstar 2, right? But I think he can be a good 2, a decent 2, a nice option.
Yeah.
Not as good as a Chris Middleton, but, man, it's crazy how things change. And they do, because going into the season, you thought Saddiq would be your leading scorer. And now he's coming off the bench, and he's... I don't want to say regressing, but he's just not playing good ball.
I think it is, and what really hurt him, in my opinion, is Beydoun. Because having a guy like Beydoun, who is really in the role of Saddiq Bey, he's taking all of his opopportunities. And again, it's not like it's a bad thing. This is the NBA.
Yeah, but Beydoun is the better player right now.
That's my point. This is the NBA. Like if someone's better than you, they're going to take your spot. And for Saddiq to come off the bench, he's still struggling. He's always been an inefficient shooter. He's streaky. He can have those 50-point games like he had last year. Had 50 against Orlando. But to your point, Adam, I don't know if it's confidence, if it's being uncomfortable, the fit he's playing with, the role he's in, something's off. And if he doesn't have a fit with this team in the future, you're going to have to look in trading him. And that's why Troy shopped him a little bit, just seeing the price. Because for Saddiq, I love Saddiq Bey. Before the season, I really believed he was going to be a big part of this team. But here came Beydoun. And things change. That's how the NBA works. I mean, one day you're the third on your team, and one day you're the fifth guy. I mean, it's just that's how things change.
What's next for this team pending Cade is out for the year?
It's really about player development, continuing to see Jay Ivey. I know he just got back. I want to see Jay Ivey get back to what he's been doing, making his case for the Rookie of the Year. I want to see Killian Hayes keep up what he's been doing, giving me 13, 14 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds, a couple steals a night, shooting well from 3. I want to see Beydoun play well like he's been playing. I want to see Isaiah Stewart, now that he's back, go back to what he looked like early in the season. I want to see Duren be the dominant force he's been all season. Continue that. Even improve on that. I want to see player development. This season, and I know that sounds boring, player development. That's the reality. I mean, your franchise player's out for the season. I mean, what do you want? I mean, this is the cards you've been given. This is a 30-win team with Cade. Without Cade, we'll see if they can even clear 25 wins. But, again, it's about player development, and it's about knowing what you have. What do you have with your team right now? Because for Troy, his big decision this offseason is who stays and who goes. That's what he's going to have to decide. And this season, it's a good evaluation to see what players are going to stay for the future. That's what you got to see. That's the evaluation period in a rebuild, is seeing who's going to be here. Every GM asks this question. Who's going to be here when we win a title? That's what you have to ask yourself, and that has to get answered this offseason.
One more question. Killian Hayes. What is his offensive ceiling? Because you've seen what I've seen the last 6, 7, 8, 10 games.
Right.
12 points a game, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 5 assists. Not bad. Pretty nice. But, we mentioned this. Is Cade just going to become an outright scorer now suddenly because Killian is coming into his own? And Ivey is suddenly going to put his head down and attack the basket 12, 13 times a game and try to get 17, 19, 20 a game?
Right.
But what is the future? What is the future of a team that I don't know the ceiling of Killian Hayes' offensive game? Because, yes, he is a facilitator, but you've seen him at times get streaky with the shot.
Right.
But that's what it is, Jeff. It's a streaky shot. It's not a consistent shot that, boy, that's a scorer, right?
Right.
We don't look at Killian Hayes and say that's a guy that can score in the NBA. You're still not sure how he gets the points. Now, whether or not he hits some of those open threes he'll get a game, that's a different conversation. But he's not an outright scorer. And, again, that's where I get confused with how this team meshes and is put together and how they have all these facilitators with nobody to shoot the ball. And that's what Sadiq and Bojan were for. But now it's Bojan taking over because nobody else wants to shoot the damn ball.
Yeah, that's how it seems. But for Killian, I think the offensive ceiling, and you've seen it at times this season against different teams. Killian, I would say, if we're talking points per game, what can he get to and what would be his ceiling? I would say about 13, maybe 13 points, 12 points. If he can give you 12, 5, and 5 off the bench, and about a steal and a half, 1.3 steals, whatever it is, about his average, you'll take that. I mean, you'll take that every day of the week and twice on Sunday. You just will, from a guy coming off your bench. So for Killian Hayes, it's not about being, a superstar, a star in the NBA, right? I mean, you look at, in the NBA, it's different from the NFL. In the NBA, in the NFL, you draft guys 10th overall, 13th overall, 15th, 17th. They can be superstars. They can be your franchise players. You're witnessing Amon-Ra St. Brown taken in the 4th round be your pillars. In the NBA, it's a little different. I mean, excuse me, my gosh, big boy, man, just being in here. In the NBA, if you get picked 7th overall like Killian Hayes was, you would like a guy like him to be a star in the league, but the reality is just be a great role player. If he can come off your bench and give you double-digit points at him, that's all you can ask for out of Killian, and be a great defender. So I would say ceiling-wise, maybe 12, 5, and 5, 12, 6, and 6, something like that. You'll take that. No question. And one question, too, I want to address, because I see a comment. Bob Johnson says, second-rounders can be MVPs. I mean, yes. Jokic, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right, Bob, but you're not banking on that in the second round. Really, typically, you'll find your Isaiah Livers. Those are your second-round picks. So, again,
I'm with you, Jeff.
Yeah,
Let's
that's
take
what you want.
a quick pause. When we get back, Baker Mayfield to the Rams, does it affect the Lions' draft stock with that Rams pick? We'll have that conversation coming up in just a bit. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Swiss Insurance.
Well, with the holiday season here, Swiss Insurance wants to remind you to insure those gifts of jewelry or collectibles. In the last 2 weeks, Swiss Insurance has saved its clients an average of 26% on their insurance premiums while increasing coverage. It's plenty of money to save up for the giving season. Merry Christmas from Swiss Insurance, and don't forget, go blue.
It's back. Year 3 of Woodward Sports Stuff a Studio is here. The past 2 years, we've collected new unwrapped toys and stuffed our studio so we could hardly fit in it. This year, we're doing it even bigger. Join Woodward Sports and our whole family December 19th to the 23rd as we stuff our studio. While you're out shopping or just sitting on your couch ordering presents, make sure you grab one extra and drop it off at our studio, 15 Mile in Woodward and Birmingham. We'll be collecting toys around the clock to make sure every child in Mott's Children's Hospital feels the warmth of the holiday season. It's the time of year to do for others. Help us stuff our studio. Special thanks to all the wonderful elves at Meyer and Guardian Alarm for keeping the toys safe. Stuff a Studio 2022 with Woodward Sports.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
And a miraculous catch!
Follow us everywhere. Just search Woodward Sports on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, IG, and more.
The Monroe Street Midway, decked out Detroit, brings you the Cadillac Lodge and downtown Detroit being decked out all holiday season. I can't wait. This is going to be so fun. The Midway has a giant slide, winter bumper cars, and an indoor arcade. Plus, you can shop, eat, and play at the Monroe Street Midway. I loved what they did in the spring, and now for the winter, they got it all decked out, holiday season trees. I'm looking forward, man.
Gotta love the holiday
take that
season.
Little shit of a nephew I have down there this weekend. Can't wait. He is a little shit.
What do you keep calling? That's a little mean. Isn't that
What?
mean?
It's the truth. He's a shithead.
You have to say it to his face.
He whines for no reason.
That's what all
and when
kids
you yell
do.
at him, he stops crying suddenly. It's weird.
That's what all kids do. Have you had a kid before?
Do I look like I have a child?
I don't know. You have nephews.
I have nephews.
But you see kids before. You know what kids look like when they're
Fish,
young.
You're my kid. I claim you.
Okay.
You're my son now.
Do I whine a lot?
You, Stick and Adham shared co-parenting for Fish. yeah, like Raj said, Stick gets him on the weekends.
Stick is the proud father. I'm the disappointed father.
Yeah.
I think you're pushing it with me even taking him anywhere.
I do love McDonald's. How do you not?
Oh, man, you think Adrian Peterson was bad with the switch?
Oh my
Anyways.
God! Here we go. Here we go. With a cricket bat, right?
Oh,
right, Fish.
Cricket. How do you not? I'll be watching cricket tonight, probably.
Fish. Chuck in the chat says, if Fish is my child, then I am failing you.
What? You're
my
failing
God.
me?
Yep.
Okay. I don't think you're failing me, but.
All right. Well, here comes your real father walking up behind you right now, Flannel Sam. We're going to continue the show. Baker to the Rams. He's claimed off of waivers. The only team that put in an offer for him.
Yeah.
I guess you want to start with me. I'll start with you. It doesn't really matter either way. Does it help the Rams? And I know you. I'll start.
Yeah.
I'll answer this for you.
Is it good or bad for the Lions?
I do think he's a better option than Wolford and Perkins. Having said that, though, I don't think he walks in and in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, gets enough of the offense to where the Rams are suddenly going to look competent. They didn't look competent with Matthew Stafford. There is no Cooper Kupp. Cam Akers is the lead back. So it is...
No Allen Robinson either. Out for the season.
So the Rams aren't getting any better. A quarterback isn't going to fix that.
Right.
Whether it was Baker or anybody else, even if the Rams got 5% better, that 5% isn't enough to threaten your draft stock, in my opinion.
No, I think you're absolutely right. My point was the exact same thing you brought up, is how can Baker go to the Rams, and with that Sean McVay offense, how can he wrap his head around that this quickly with the talent they don't have at the moment? No Allen Robinson, no Cooper Kupp. They can't protect anything with that offensive line. It's a disaster. I'm not too worried about it. I just think, obviously, and we're in lockstep here, Baker is better than Wolford slightly, but is he, though? Like how he's been playing this season, getting benched for P.J. Walker, Sam Darnold overtaking the job back in Carolina. I mean, if we're keeping it 100 right now, no. I mean, Baker's he's trash, and I think the Rams will continue to lose games. Looking at their schedule coming up, they do have games, and I want to look at the schedule because I think this will tell me a lot about what's to come for the Rams. They got
the Raiders on Thursday night.
Which he's not playing in that game. It's too early. They have the Packers Monday Night Football.
Though.
Yeah, in Lambeau. You ain't winning that game. Then they have the Broncos, which Broncos scored 9 points a game. So
winnable game against
maybe.
Denver.
And then the Chargers are not winning.
No
Seahawks
chance.
are not winning. So
no chance. You maybe have one win on there.
Mm.
And that would make them what on the season? 4-13. That would be their record for the year. If they win 1 out of the last 5 games, they will be 4-13. And I like their chances.
We need them to lose to the Broncos. Because right now the Broncos technically have one higher pick than the Rams. They're picking 3. Seattle
Broncos
is.
don't have a pick.
Seattle is via the Broncos.
Oh,
Excuse
that's
me.
right. That is
they're
right.
not picking, but the Seattle Seahawks
so
are.
So that
via,
game will decide whether or not you can get a franchise quarterback or trade back a little bit for a team that wants a C.J. Stroud, or who knows, maybe Bryce Young falls to you.
Right.
So that is the marquee game of the year. The Rams versus the Broncos. I can't believe I'm saying that. The Rams versus the Broncos will determine what value your pick holds.
Ultimately, yes.
That is insane to me.
But no, I don't
Go
think
Broncos.
No.
Oh wait. What does Russell Wilson say?
Let's ride.
Let's ride.
Broncos country.
Broncos country. Let's ride.
And the Broncos schedule, I want to look at this.
It's pretty soft for the Broncos.
They have the Chiefs.
They do have the Chiefs one more time. No, twice actually, right?
You're correct.
I think the Chiefs, and then they play. There's only one soft game actually. I take that back. Maybe Arizona. I think they have.
Yes.
Arizona and the Rams are their 2 friendly games.
Yep.
And then it's Chiefs Chargers, which is difficult.
Yep. Chiefs twice and Chargers. So
there you go.
You're right.
Yep.
3 losses ultimately, but the two games they could win. Cardinals and Rams. So you're right. I think that game against the Rams would ultimately be one of the biggest deciders between 3 or 4. So Baker continue to lose games, continue to suck.
He will.
And we'll see what the future holds for Baker because no team in the NFL. I'm going to be honest with you. I thought the 49ers would at least put in a claim for him.
Never.
And that says a lot
Kyle
about
Shanahan showed you he could win with Brock Purdy against Miami, who are one of the best teams in the NFL.
Stand corrected.
Kyle Shanahan is sitting there and saying, I don't need this scrub, Baker Mayfield, to come in here and act like he runs the place. Jimmy G, by the way, reportedly does not have Liz Frank.
He'll be back for the playoffs.
So he will likely be back.
Yeah.
So watch out for that. This is going to be very interesting. Let's take a quick break. When we get back, can the Red Wings make a playoff push? They're 2-0 on this road stretch. They just beat the Tampa Bay Lightning last night in an impressive victory, 4-2. Willie Uso, exceptional. He is what a number 1 goaltender looks like. Yeah. He's been exceptional in net. So we'll talk about the Wings coming up in just a bit. But before we go, I got to tell you where you need to go to get in shape, and that's at Planet Fitness. Sign up today, $10 a month. Your fitness is essential. Sign up today by visiting them in-store or check them out at planetfitness.com. We'll see you guys in just a bit.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Get a shot up. This is for the win. All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
Jeff Iafrate here. Let me tell you about our friends at Alta, because at Alta, uptime matters. Alta Equipment has everything you need to get the job done. If you have a big project coming up, Alta Rent has you covered. Call them today, 844-GO-TO-ALTA. That's 844-GO-TO-ALTA today.
All right, we are back here on the Morning Woodward Show live, woodwardsports.com. We're live at Big Boy out in Wyandotte. Come check us out.
Smells so good.
We'll be here all day until 4 o'clock with Ermani and Edwards, also known as the Final Word. And it's going to be a great day. It's going to be a great day. Flannel Sam is here. Raj, Stick, the whole crew. Of course, there's Fish.
By the way, did you see Flannel Sam go toe-to-toe with Lindsey Hunter yesterday?
Yes,
I wouldn't say he went toe-to-toe with Lindsey Hunter.
You'd say he lost that round 10-8? You think so?
It was like a special person talking to a wall. Right? I mean, that's what Flannel is in that conversational. Everything else, he's exceptional. But to Flannel's point, Ben Wallace was limited offensively. But wait, hear me out. He was limited offensively. Everything that Flannel points out is correct.
Do you want him in here?
On Ben Wallace. No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't want to talk
that doesn't really...
But, wait, God damn it, let me finish.
I tried.
Everything he points about Ben Wallace offensively is fundamentally true. But how great Ben Wallace was and how valuable he was on the defensive side of the ball overshadows all of it, and he is a no-doubt first ballot Hall of Famer, all right? Flannel, I'm sorry, buddy. I know. Look, I'm surprised Lindsey Hunter didn't get up and smack you yesterday, so let's just leave that there. Is he? On Ermani and Edwards. No. Oh, excuse me, the bottom final word.
A final word. Gotta
With
get the
Ermani
name right.
and plus Braylon and plus minus Maz minus plus Lindsey Hunter. All right, cool. We're going to move on. Can the Red Wings make a playoff push? This is the... And sometimes Stig.
Right.
4-2. 4-2 win last night. Husso, exceptional in net.
Right.
Did a fantastic job. And now you're coming up on... They're ahead of the Lightning in the standings in their division. They're tied with 31 points. They have 5 overtime losses. This is a Red Wings team that is really getting it together. They're winning important games. And you know what, Jeff? We talked about where's the goal scoring going to come from. It's come from all the free agents. Perron, Kopp, they're all stepping in. Berggren last night. Yeah. Kubalik, they're all contributing on top of it. They're compensating for... I mean, we can all agree it's not a bad thing, but a slow start to the season for Mo Sider and Lucas Raymond. Yet your team is winning off the charts. It is exceptional. It is a beautiful thing to me, and this is the Stevie Y plan. Yeah. This was always in place, and when you got rid of Blashill last year at the end of the year, they brought in Lalonde and were like, "Here you go. This is the man. Here's what we're going to do to equip him properly. We're going to start actually contending." And they're doing it year one. Mm-hmm. I'm so impressed.
I am too, and I'll tell you why. Listen, we had expectations before the season. We thought they'd be a wild card team. But more than that, I'll tell you why they're going to make the playoffs, and I'll lay it out for you. We talk about goaltending. They have good goaltending with Ville Husso, which he was impressive last night, again on the road. But more importantly on the road, they're good as a team. I mean, they're 6-3-2 on the road. They've added veterans in the offseason, credit to Stevie Y, that are adults, that know how to win, that contribute to winning, and Kubalik, Perron, Kopp, the list goes on. They also have a captain in Dylan Larkin who's having a career season, a great season. He's balling. And on top of that, they have a high-level coach. They have Derek Lalonde, who knows how to win meaningful games, and knows what it takes to get to the dance. And on top of that, they have all the pieces to make the playoffs. There isn't a question, at least with me and really among Red Wings fans, they can at least make the wild card spot this season, which is crazy to think about because we talked about which team is the closest to making the playoffs. And I know it was a big split between the Red Wings or the Detroit Lions. For me, I've always put the Red Wings number one. because of Stevie Y and because of the talent. They're about a year or two ahead of where the Pistons are right now. They've added those free agents, those veteran free agents that can contribute. They have an experienced head coach. They moved on from Blashill. I do believe they're a playoff team, not just a wild card team, but they're a dangerous team because they check all the boxes. Winning on the road, good goaltending, experienced veterans, young players that can make plays as well. The Red Wings check everything for me, Adam, and it's honestly been a blessing to watch because I finally get something in Detroit, one of our sports franchises, that are playing meaningful games, and we can at least look forward to the playoffs. So the Red Wings, they check all those boxes. We just need Bertuzzi back healthy. That is one player that I felt so bad for because he's played, he was out, he broke his wrist, and now he's injured again. And they're not even 100% healthy. Think about that. Think about talking about, who would lead this team in goal scoring. It'd be Vrana. And Vrana's dealing with personal problems right now. Prayers go out to him at the moment. But to think about what this team's doing, even without some of their better goal scorers, proves to me, Adam, no question they're a playoff team. They really are. They have the DNA of being a playoff team, and I just can't wait. I can't wait to see where they end the ending of the season.
I'm with you, man. And again, the Wings are the standard again in Detroit. They're the standard.
Yes.
They're in the playoff hunt. They're sitting there beating good teams. They've got the netminder you need. I'm just so impressed with what they've done. I am.
Yeah,
Olumata got on the score sheet with an assist last night. Yeah. It was just a well-rounded performance. Everybody that Steve Yzerman brought in free agency was basically on the score sheet. It was nothing short of exceptional.
Yep.
So shout out to Steve Yzerman, the team he's building. Derek Lalonde, great start to his career as a first-time head coach with the Detroit Red Wings.
It's huge.
Let's pivot and get to Mailbag. When we get back, we'll answer all of your questions. So get them in the chat. Any questions you may have for myself or Jeff, we'll answer them in the Woodward Sports chat. But before we go, I got to tell you about Cousins Maine Lobster. It's where you should be having lunch today. So what are you waiting for? Visit them at cousinsmainelobster.com or scan that QR code and find out where their food truck is. And when you do, make sure you order the Maine Lobster along with the beautiful clam chowder soup. It is exceptional. It's to die for. Fresh every single day. Amazing food, amazing people, amazing service. Check them out, cousinsmainelobster.com.
It's back. Year 3 of Woodward Sports Stuff-A Studio is here. The past 2 years, we've collected new unwrapped toys and stuffed our studio so we could hardly fit in it. This year, we're doing it even bigger. Join Woodward Sports and our whole family December 19th to the 23rd as we stuff our studio. While you're out shopping or just sitting on your couch ordering presents, make sure you grab one extra and drop it off at our studio, 15 Mile in Woodward and Birmingham. We'll be collecting toys around the clock to make sure every child in Mott's Children's Hospital feels the warmth of the holiday season. It's the time of year to do for others. Help us stuff our studio. Special thanks to all the wonderful elves at Meyer and Guardian Alarm for keeping the toys safe. Stuff-A Studio 2022 with Woodward Sports.
For a limited time only, all new burgers and loaded fries at Big Boy. It's not a Slim Jim, it's the Big Jim. The chili cheese is such a tease. Guess what else is new? The bacon blue. How about upgrading those fries? Chili cheese fries, baked potato fries, nacho fries. What will it be? Satisfy those taste buds at Big Boy.
My name is Lee. I've lost 35 pounds on the Custom Health Center program. So the 3 biggest benefits that I've gotten from this program has been I'm not snoring anymore, I have a lot of energy, it's great, and oh, by the way, look at this. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
Call us at 844-789-THIN or visit CustomHealthCenters.com for a free consultation and get started for as little as $5 a day.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
All right, the official meat supplier of the Woodward Sports Network. No, that isn't fish. It's actually Chef Dave over at the butchery. Call 248-682-COWS. That's 248-682-COWS for artisan breads, Wagyu meats, Sandwiches to die for. Check out Chef Dave and the team over at the butchery.
Love cows. How do you not?
Sick asses. What's wrong with you guys?
That's the
Moving
phone
in a
number.
public place.
Cows.
This guy, we employ some weird people, man. All right. Let's see what questions we got. What are you guys doing for the TCU Michigan game? Well, as always, we'll have a pregame show. We'll have a pregame show and hopefully a postgame show, live reaction to Michigan, hopefully.
Yeah.
Beating TCU and earning a national title bid. So that'll be fun. We'll set that up for sure. Let's see what other questions we have. If Michigan wins the Natty, will Armani do a show pantsless? You know what? I want you to ask that at 2 o'clock when they get here.
Why pants? You can't even see his pants.
Exactly.
Do
so
shirtless.
Let's have him do just completely naked.
Do people want to? Yeah.
I mean, he's gonna.
He's gonna be a little hungover.
He's gonna be hungover and have a boner that'll last for 7 days, probably. Who knows?
All right.
Why the boner
I don't know
for
way
7
I
days?
acknowledged that question. I don't know why I did this. Do you think
what is he doing?
Do you think this offseason the Lions will cut Romo to save a cap room? Romeo Okwara, I think, is who he's mentioning.
I don't know. I like Romeo. I want to see him play. That's really what I want to see this season because I think Romeo, last time we saw him play, he's a guy who can get you 10 sacks. So Romeo, to me, I wouldn't say cut him yet, but we'll see. If he plays and he looks good, I'd keep him. But we'll see. We'll see. That's up to Brad Holmes. He makes those decisions.
Let's see what other questions we have in the chat. Mailbag question, is Michigan making Max Duggan cry before the fourth quarter? Probably. I think Michigan are going to win that game comfortably. They're going to be able to dominate the line of scrimmage like they always do. It'll probably, again, be close in the first half, and then Michigan, as they always do, will likely run away in the second half. Would anyone actually, let's see, do you trade Goff after the season if a team offers a late one and possibly more? Bro.
No.
Let me ask you this. Don't ask me fucking stupid questions, all right? You ask yourself that question. Would you trade a late first-round pick for Jared Goff? And think about that. What does that mean? A late first-round pick. So a team that's in the playoffs that likely have a quarterback that would give up a first-round pick for Jared Goff. You walk yourself through that scenario, and don't you ever ask another question on the show until you have that honest conversation with yourself.
Mike G asks, when the Lions make the playoffs, can Lady Janes give Juicy a faux hawk with dye and Lions blue?
Do it, man. What do you got to lose?
I mean, we could get that worked out. I think there's plenty of talented people, women at Lady Jane's who could definitely do that for me. We'll see.
I'll do something for you.
Okay. Well, you know what?
If the Lions end up winning out and making the playoffs, does Campbell deserve to be considered as Coach of the Year? I think he'll be in the conversation, Chris. I don't think he wins the award. Unfortunately, there are other coaches that are outperforming their own expectations for the year that might end up winning the division. So it's going to be a tough one.
And I like this question because not too many people have asked it. Southpaw Slabs asked, Juicy Jeff, what does the NBA draft look like after Wembanyama? Isn't the expected number 2 pretty good? Would love your thoughts. I mean, yeah, besides Scoot Henderson, if the Pistons pick 3 to 5, I'm going to say right now, my guy's Brandon Miller. Remember that name. Freshman at Alabama.
You're going to get a score.
He's 6'9".
I like it.
Versatile, can shoot.
I like it.
Shoot the hell out of the ball. I can't wait. I hate talking about the draft. Is it bad that
I don't want to talk about the Pistons
hate
draft?
It. I
really
hate
don't.
draft talk
It
right
really
now.
bothers me.
Yeah, it does.
There's enough young players on this team.
There
it really
is.
pisses me off. Not in a bad way.
But there's
Not
my
in a bad
answer.
way.
There's my answer.
Not
Brandon
in a bad
Miller.
way.
Remember the name.
Oh,
all right.
God.
What do we
Adam,
got?
can you get Fish to sing forward down the field? Fish, are you familiar with the Lions fight song or no?
Roaring down the field. Team that will not yield.
Yep,
Blue
here we
and
go.
silver wave. What's the other one?
I don't know. I don't know the lyrics. I don't know the lyrics. Oh, God. Moving on. Let's see what other questions we have. Mailbag, because this could change how the Lions will draft in 23. Which quarterbacks do you think will retire after the 2022 season? I do believe Brady will stick around.
I think Matt Ryan might be done.
Rodgers likely is done. I think Matt Ryan is likely done.
Cooked, Matt Ryan.
Yeah. Look, there's going to be a lot of teams in the market for a quarterback. The problem is if you're the Lions and you're sitting there, let's say hypothetically at 3.
Yeah.
Are you really willing to trade back into the middle of the first round for future picks to a team that's looking to grab a quarterback and contend right away? I don't know if that's the move. For me, it's you either get the interior presence with Jalen Carter. If Will Anderson's available, you go there. And you know what? If Brad Holmes is bought into C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young, you pull the trigger. You don't wait on getting the guy for the future.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean he has to start year 1, Jeff.
Absolutely.
You can sit him for a year behind Goff. What needs to come around is this defense. And if it continues to play the way it has the last 5 weeks, I'm telling you right now, in the offseason, come July, August, before September, conversation is going to be, can the Lions compete for the division? And I don't think that's crazy.
No, it's not.
I don't. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Let's see what other questions we have.
Jesse,
Jeff, are you buying the UFC 282 card? Interesting.
How do you know?
No, I haven't watched UFC in like a year. I'm sorry.
It's
buddy.
okay. That's why I'm here for you. No, I'm not buying the card. It sucks that the main event basically is a wash now at this point. But I'll definitely be tuning in somehow, some way. All right? That's all I'll say, if you get where I'm coming from. But I got to see Patty.
Again, these questions, you guys are confusing me a little bit. With so many needy quarterback teams, would it make sense to even look at trading Goff at the end of the year? Again, I'm going to ask the question back to you. If you were a GM in the NFL, would you trade for Jared Goff? Most of you would say no. So why the hell are you asking me?
I think the Colts would.
The Colts have made this mistake for 3 straight years. I don't think they'll do it for a 4th.
They've acquired washed old quarterbacks. Jared Goff isn't
Carson Wentz washed and old?
Well, he's just bad. I mean, Jared,
come on.
Would you agree that Jared's better?
Would Jared Goff do a better job last year than Carson Wentz did in Indianapolis? I would argue they would be similar. That's it. So what's the difference? Carson Wentz is washed and trashed because he's hurt now, and last year they blew an opportunity to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
What?
No, I mean, the Carson Wentz point's pretty good.
Come on.
I mean, yeah, because Carson Wentz that year had like 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions.
Only 7 interceptions, yes.
He had a pretty good year.
Yes.
He had a pretty good year.
God, if the Lions get into the playoffs, honest question, how dangerous are they? I don't think. Let's see who they match up against, right? If they go up against Tampa, guys, you're making me think way too far ahead. It's hurt my head.
Yeah, that's.
Not sure how I feel about that. I really don't. I don't know about that. Wentz has terrible decision-making all the time. Yes, real cream of wheat. You are correct. But you know who has led the NFL in turnover since 2019? Jared Goff.
Here we go.
So, I mean,
I think people they look at the year he's had and they kind of forget those things.
Oh, yeah, I know.
But you're
Goff
right.
is having an exceptional season.
But you're right. I mean, he has the most turnovers.
Put it in the context.
Yeah, he does. He does.
All right. Goff is in the 12 to 15 range. Who said that? Enjoy Detroit said it. I do agree. Do you think Sheila loves Fish? Fish, do you think Sheila Ford likes you or loves you?
I would hope neither.
You would hope so?
I don't know.
Would it mean a lot to you if she did?
Well, I would hope.
I'm going to request a formal letter that she writes you a Christmas card.
Okay.
And it has Swedish fish in it.
Oh, that's
Yep.
I do
Goes
like some
okay.
Swedish fish.
Nice.
Got you, buddy.
Well, but why would she? Is there a reason that she would?
I like this question. Robert asked Mailbag.
thanks
My
for
opinion,
ignoring me.
Lions
Really
need to draft
appreciate
a safety, cornerback, and field goal kicker. Jake Moody.
Feel like we're now
Your
on the
guys'
bench.
thoughts?
No.
Jake Moody.
No. Time out. Slow down.
Jake
You missed two
Moody.
things before we talk about those other positions.
Oh.
You need to draft an interior lineman,
Yes.
a franchise quarterback, or you go get another pass rusher. Number one. Number two,
But
you
Jake
go get a
Moody.
secondary player in the first round.
Yeah.
In the second round, now you can talk to me about another secondary player, a safety. Now you can talk to me about multiple positions. And if you want to go grab Moody in the 4th, 5th round, I don't mind it.
Okay, all right.
I don't.
As long as we agree there.
I don't. But Badgley, again, he's been
been
good.
great, too,
He's
so.
been good. What you're looking for is an uber-talented kicker with the leg of I don't know, made of steel, who can hit 60-yard field goals, basically. That's when kickers are an advantage. But other than that, you want a guy that'll hit the 43, 47, 51, 53-yard field goals. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we got to wrap up in just a minute, so let's finish up with the final few questions. Moody may not be there in the 4th or 5th. I don't know, Jake. This guy is not going in the 3rd round. Are you kidding me?
I would be shocked if he did.
It's not happening. 4th round, you can sell me on it. Is Anthony Richardson and Malik Willis the same person? We'll see. We'll see, because once Anthony Richardson takes off his clothes and he gives homeless people food, and then he starts throwing passes at the combine, who knows? Maybe Lions fans will want him at number 2 overall. And don't think I have forgotten all of you. You motherfuckers. Don't think I've forgotten. I know where you live. I know who you are. All you Kyle Hamilton and Malik Willis people at number 2. Don't worry. Daddy's here always to save the day. But that's it for us here at Big Boy Out in Wyandotte. Thank you so much for having us, of course. Thank you to everybody who joined us over at woodwardsports.com. Jeff, it was a pleasure.
Always.
Fish, go to hell. Alex,
Thank
go
you.
to hell.
Appreciate
Flannel,
you.
your takes on Ben Wallace. We got to talk about him. Have a great rest of your day to everybody here at Big Boy. Thank you again. We're out of here. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys tomorrow live, 8 a.m.
Go watch FA Cup. How do you not get your woke up hangover over with?